Old School RuneScape has been around for over half a decade now. Aside from the usual glitches like no clipping and animation errors, Old School has had some fairly notable glitches, some that literally changed the economy forever. In today's video, I'm going to cover, in my opinion, what the 5 biggest glitches in Old School RuneScape history are. Number 5. Max Cash Glitch. This glitch is easily one of the craziest glitches to ever happen in RuneScape history, and for those of you who were around when it happened, you probably agree. The Max Cash glitch occurred on July 12, 2018. The glitch caused basically every stackable item in the game gained during PKing to turn into a stack of 2.1 billion coins. Before I explain just how this happened, let's take a look at a few reactions because they're honestly pretty hilarious.
What? Bro, he had max cash on him. Bro, he had max cash on him. Bro, what? 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 Wait, what? Wait, what?
Edgeville. I reckon we'll kill him wherever he is. Yes! What?
So what exactly caused such a massive mistake to occur? Well, in the months leading up to this change, Jagex had been teasing changes to the thieving skill, those changes being the introduction of coin pouches. More or less, how thieving used to work is you would pickpocket an NPC and get coins. This meant if you were at a level where you could no longer fail the pickpocket, you could just spam click in the same exact spot all day gaining XP. This became a pretty large issue because a lot of players began using bots known as auto-clickers to click for them. Jagex attempted to remedy this problem by introducing coin pouches. Now, rather than receiving coins when pickpocketing an NPC, you'd receive coin pouches. These pouches would stack up to 28. Upon reaching 28 pouches, you'd have to open them to continue thieving. This seems pretty straightforward, so what exactly went wrong? Let's use a direct quote from Jagex. One of the team was implementing the code for the pickpocketing update. This involved producing stackable pouches that are treated as being coins. On death, the aim was to convert them into real coins, partly so that a PKer could get the value if applicable. When converting a stack of items into a stack of coins, it's appropriate to check that the calculation doesn't overflow the max integer limit of the game's language, 2.1 billion. Unfortunately, the logic used for this calculation was incorrect, and when executed on stacks of other items, not the pouch itself, the result was to convert the stack into 2.1 billion coins. So, more or less, a Jagex team member introduced the code that's supposed to make sure that if you killed someone in the wilderness who was holding coin pouches, the pouches would turn into coins. They also needed to put a check in place to make sure that the player didn't drop more than max cash. So let's say the player was for some odd reason carrying a stack of max coins as well as 10 coin pouches. If the pouches were converted into coins, the coin stack would be over max cash, which due to how RuneScape works would cause a whole lot of problems. Whoever implemented this code, however, made a mistake and thus this glitch occurred. Stackable items that the person who was PK'd had on them, like runes, were instead converted into max cash rather than being dropped normally. As a result of this glitch, the game was taken down for almost half of a day while Jagex attempted to remedy the situation. A fun fact is that this is the first time a rollback ever occurred on Old School RuneScape. When the problem was discovered, the team literally didn't even know if it was possible to roll back the game as they had never done it before. Luckily for us, and the game's economy, they figured out how to do it. Because let's be honest, if that much gold leaked into the game, there's a decent chance Old School might not even be here today. Number 4. Theater of Blood Glitch. This one is a fairly small glitch, and much like the previous one, didn't have any real effect on the economy. However, I thought it was pretty funny and was a pretty big deal when it first happened. So Raids 2 had just been released and the PVM community was absolutely going crazy over it. However, one raid took a pretty bad turn. So in Raids 2, there's an item called the Dawnbringer. It's used for multiple phases of the fight against the final boss, Lady Verzik. Should a player die with the staff, it's supposed to drop to the ground. However, a little mistake in the code caused another item in the player's inventory to drop. This sucks and is inconvenient, however, another team member could pick up the item and trade it back to you after the raid. Well, that is, unless the player that dropped it was an Iron Man, and that is exactly what happened. The player didn't just lose a random item like a Ceradoman Brew, instead they dropped their Armadillo chestplate. In the end, Jagex ended up transferring the item back to the Iron Man. However, I imagine their heart skipped a beat when they noticed it wasn't in their inventory. There are only 2 reported cases of this glitch that I could find, however, I imagine it happened a couple other times in other groups before it was hotfixed. Number 3. Rat Pit's Duplication. This glitch probably had the biggest effect on RuneScape's economy, yet was only around for about 2 weeks. To perform this glitch, you had to first complete the Rat Catcher's quest. Afterwards, you would unlock the Rat Pit's minigame. In this minigame, you challenge another player to see whose cat could catch the most rats. Each player can bet up to 20,000 coins each. The glitchers managed to figure out a way to trick the game into thinking that one player won and the other forfeited. As a result, they were able to generate 20,000 gold each time this glitch was performed. This may seem like a small amount of cash, however, the bug abuser soon wrote a bot script to perform the glitch for them. They used this script across 42 different accounts. The only downside for them is they manually had to do the Rat Catcher's quest 42 times. The payout was huge though, because over 26 million GP was generated an hour using this glitch. In the end, they profited almost 70 billion GP, although most of it never made it into the economy due to the fact that the accounts holding the cash were banned before most of it could be sold off. Regardless, the amount that did make it out crashed the price of gold in underground markets. The price went from $1.80 USD all the way down to about $1. Number 2. The Corporal Beast glitch. This is a glitch I covered in a previous video, however it absolutely secures its spot on this list, so I'm going to cover it again. One day during a Corporal Beast mass, a player noticed somebody using a Gmaul spec on Corp. He thought that would be a fun idea, and as a result decided to get his out of the bank and give it a shot. He discovered that when he had them all in his inventory and attempted to log out, it somehow made him invincible to Corp's attacks. The player went on to have one of his friends write a bot script for him, and he abused this glitch with dozens of accounts. By the time it was patched, him and other players who knew about the glitch had already wreaked havoc on the economy by running the accounts for nearly 3 months. As a result of him and other players who abused it, hundreds, possibly even thousands of sigils were introduced into the game. The scary part about this glitch is that it didn't just work on Corp. It worked for basically anything you could attack. It was abused in places like pest control, so players could AFK for literally days, maybe even weeks just gaining XP. Drug Rug Joe, the main abuser of this glitch, trained all his accounts to get the stats for Corp this way. Even worse though is that the glitch also works inside of the duel arena, although it was done a little bit differently. The Granite Mall wasn't the only way to abuse this glitch. It was later found out that you could do the same thing with a Dwarf Cannon. It didn't work at Pest Control or the duel arena, but it definitely worked on Corp. The entire invincibility glitch was kept fairly private from what I've been told. Throughout its existence, only a handful of players knew how to do it, so Drug Rug Joe was definitely not the only person abusing this glitch. However, it's likely he could be the only one who abused it on such a large scale. Number 1. The World 347 glitch. A lot of players ever wonder if the Falador Massacre could ever happen again. Well, in a way it actually kinda did. The World 347 glitch occurred not too long ago on April 24th, 2018. Jagex were taking some USA servers offline that were scheduled for maintenance. They also wanted to transfer the Deadman Mode world from 345 to 347. Jagex made these changes without forcing everyone on 347 to log out. As soon as those changes were applied, for the next 2 minutes all Deadman rules were applied, except everyone was still on their normal accounts. That means every player gained 5 times the normal experience they would, PvP was available almost everywhere, and you could kill players and get bank keys that would normally give you access to that player's most valuable banked items. In the span of those 2 minutes, 3 players died. 2 of them turned out to be bots, however the third was a legitimate player. Due to his death, the player lost about 58 million GP worth of items, which Jagex fixed by giving the player 15 bonds, which at the time could cover the value of the items lost, and a free year of membership on top of that. The glitch is actually the reason Jagex now returns items and experience to players who lose them if Jagex is at fault. That's why I consider this one of the biggest glitches of all time, because previously Jagex really would not return items at all, regardless of who was at fault. Anyway, hopefully you enjoy this video. A lot of time and research went into this, so feel free to drop a like, and I'll see you in the next video.